did you have to send an apology text to LaFleur up in Green Bay for getting Claypool?
Boy, they were trying to get him. That's how in the dark I am, right there.
Talk a little bit
In my hole.
Sorry. Just talk a little bit about the process in terms of getting a wide receiver on board here.
Well, we'd like to hear the rest of the interesting things you say.
We're going to finish the first answer first.
Right.
I mean, obviously, you just enlightened me, so I had no idea. So no, I guess I didn't have to, but no, we're happy to have him though. We're excited to have him. I think just his physical presence, or already you see the guy walk in the door, and you're excited about what he could bring to our team.
Second, Luke, can I go forward? All right. Just wanted to know about like the process in terms of getting him ready to play, prepared. I know he didn't really talk about this the other day, but how much is the system in Pittsburgh maybe similar to what here? Is it hugely different? Is it similar?
I have no familiarity with what they do, so I'm not really sure. But as far as getting him ready for us, the COVID year kind of did some really cool things in the sense of like how to prepare somebody for this guy's out, and then you have to have somebody kind of out of nowhere playing in a game. So we have some really cool tools to help him learn what he needs to learn quickly with not having a coach with him for 24 hours a day. I think he'll be okay. We'll make sure that he's ready to rock and roll for whatever his role might be come Sunday.
What kind of tools?
I told you that, then everybody would know.
It's more than just an iPad with play.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff that we were able to kind of dive into this technology to help be creative and give guys an opportunity to learn things a little bit quicker.
The way the offense looks now, can you just help us understand a little bit of your process of getting to this point and how it has evolved, how you've made these adjustments to get it to where it is now?
I don't really know that there was an adjustment this has kind of just been our process of who we are and where we started and where you're growing together, and you're evaluating all the time what your guys on the field are good at, maybe what they're not so good at, and then you're trying to enhance those things you do well, and you're trying to stay away from the things you don't do so well. So I think this is just us, like we've talked about in here. We're just in the middle of this process of trying to get better each and every day, and that's everybody, including myself. And we scored some points. I think the execution has been has grown since week one. Every week, it's gotten a little bit better. And I know the points maybe every week didn't show that, but I think when you sat in those rooms and you saw our conversations and the way those guys were playing, I think the execution has gotten better each week for sure.
Claypool, there will be a role for him on Sunday, like he will play. I mean, I know you can't open up the whole playbook to him, but he will be on the field. Yes, I'm just confirming.
Yeah, the level of what that looks like, we're not quite sure yet, though.
How much input did you have as the team was going after Chase? And just curious, what areas of growth do you see for him?
I mean, I see a guy who, just looking or reflecting or watching over the last couple of years, who had an unbelievable rookie season and shows a really cool, unique set of skills to be able to move around the field. It looks like for Pittsburgh, he played inside, he played outside and stuff. So that's something that's important. We've talked a lot about in here. A guy that can do a lot of different things is really important for us in how we attack the game. So really excited to see how far he'll be able to take it. And I'm sure it'll be one of those things where each week he'll just be able to get a little bit more.
But in those quarterback runs before the Patriots game, you explained that you saw the counteraction earlier against Lamar and decided to take that. Had you considered using more designed runs earlier in the season? Was that part of the progression that you were going to get to this year? Where was that kind of irrespective of the Patriots game?
We've used quarterback design runs since game one. Like I said, I think I said this last week, the counter play was something that we hadn't shown until New England. But I think each game we've at least called 7 or 8 quarterback design runs. Now sometimes those come with decisions for him that if the decision tells him not to keep it, then he's handing the ball off or making a throw or something like that. So that's been a part of what we've done. I think the biggest change, not necessarily change, but where we've grown, I think, is just the effectiveness. Being able to throw the ball down the field and have some effectiveness in that area. That's kind of probably just been more enlightening to people, and then that counter play seems to be everybody's favorite.
Justin's been better here recently. now that you've got Claypool on board, do you anticipate the pass volume going up?
We're going to do whatever it takes to win. That's been my focus and the way we approached everything. So if that's what's the best way to win, then yes. If that's not the best way to win, then no. Our matchups are more important to me than a stat line for anybody. So we're going to make sure we try to get our players in the best position to go have some success.
But he needs reps for you guys to be able to evaluate him, kind of see what you have, figure out how he's going to best fit for you, right?
Yeah, but we're in the process of winning games right now. We'll evaluate it as it goes. We're not necessarily in the process of evaluating somebody and putting that over top of winning the game. So we'll figure that out. Sorry.
Justin's always been super confident, but have you noticed anything changing in him, just the way that he's running the offense, having had success now in a couple of games?
No, I think that's what's cool about Justin is the consistency he brings each and every week. Whether because this game, I mean, it's like we refer to it as a roller coaster, right? It's constant. Every game is a roller coaster. Every week is a roller coaster, and so to be a consistent presence for those guys, like we talked about a bunch of times on the sideline this past week. It didn't matter what was happening with us on our side or what was happening on the other side or special teams or anything. Like, we're just going to be consistent. We're going to stand in the huddle. We're going to give them confident eyes and call that play confidently. We're going to go kick butt. So that's just the mentality that he has every single day, and he wants to be the best. So, he has to just make sure he continues that, and he has shown no signs of changing that.
How do you think adding Claypool could benefit Mooney and Colcomet?
Well, I mean, anytime that you have good players, it helps everybody. I mean, that's just part of it, right? I mean, that's, the more good players you put around each other, then it lifts the game, it lifts the level of play for everybody. So it's not just those two. I think it's everybody. If Chase can come in here and adapt our culture, adapt our play style, grab a hold of that playbook so that he can execute at a high level, then it's going to help everybody, not just those two.
Do you think it opens things up more for Mooney? I mean, it is another guy that can.
Yeah, I think like we talked about before, it's just everything you do, you're trying to find the best matchups, right? And so if teams have different things to worry about, like I think that's what's been able to make us pretty unique offensively is that you get what we do a bunch of different ways, and so the more players that you have that can do multiple things, then that's for sure. That definitely simplifies defenses for sure. So I think that helps.
What was your view on the touchdown pass from Justin to Cole on Sunday? What did you see in that sequence that left an impression?
No, it was just a well-executed play. It's something that we kind of caught on film and, hard play action. We ran the ball pretty well, especially out of 13 personnel, and then Cole did a great job of going to block the defender that he blocks normally on that run play, and he kind of shed him to his right, and then he's just running a corner route into the back of the end zone. So Justin did a great job with the play fake. Protection was great, so that gave Justin enough time to be able to let it all develop, and then the two of them, they do what they do, and it was something that was cool because on I guess it was Friday's practice, the two of them necessarily weren't on the same page with how that would look. They stayed some time after practice and made it right, and then you got to see the result of it.
As an extension of that, what is your big picture view of, you've had the last two games more red zone opportunities, obviously more touchdowns scored. What do you make of that, the fact that you've gotten down there and you guys have been able to score a bunch?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's execution, right? It's guys making plays. This is a players' league, and those guys are making plays to give us opportunities. I mean, there was a couple of times we put ourselves behind the sticks, and whether it's Debo making guys misses or making guys miss, or Justin making a guy miss, or whoever, it seems like guys are stepping up and making plays, and explosives are usually how you get to the red zone, and we've done a pretty good job of that most of the season of hitting our mark of how many explosives we get in a game, and then when you get down to the gold zone, it's really hard. It's on third down and red zone are as hard as it gets in this league. And then so you have to be really, really on your details to be able to execute at a high level. And then, when we do, we were able to score some points.
Coach, I know you want to score every drive and dominate time possession every game. When we talk about complementary football, the defense didn't play very well last week. They lost a couple big pieces, and they got this explosive offense coming in. Do you, Luke, and Coach Williams get together this week and say, hey, we need 35 minutes and 30 points this week, even more than others?
I don't think it gets that specific, but we always go into a game plan with a mindset of how we want to play the game. It always starts at first with each side of the ball, what gives us the best opportunity matchup-wise, but then we have to play off of each other for sure. That's what makes us, that's what's given us an opportunity to be in each one of these games that we've been in so far.
Luke, what have you liked that you've seen from Nikhil in the 2 games that he's been active?
Especially with not practicing very much, and be able to come out there and be able to hit the details as well as he has been really good. He's a big, strong guy, so we've been able to use that physicality in the run game too. So it's not an easy thing. As Chase will learn here, it's not an easy thing to be a receiver in our system because we put a lot on your plate with your alignments and your assignments and all your techniques and everything. So it's a demanding position, and Nikhil's done a great job with all that stuff.
Coach Bruce referred to that will position as one of the hot spots in your defense. Actually, with Roquan's departure, do you move Nick to that hot spot or put someone else in that hot spot?
Well, right now we're looking at both. Nick did play that spot in his last stop at Las Vegas, so he's familiar with it. We also looked at a little bit with Sanborn at that spot, but we're switching those guys around, seeing who we like there, and looks like Nick may be there. But we'll wait and see on Sunday who has the best reps, who has the most reps, and who does the best at that spot.
If you do move Nick there, will he keep his responsibility in terms of getting the play call? I know you were talking about earlier about the perspective and being different at the wheel versus the middle. Will he keep the responsibility of being the caller?
I think so, but still we're looking at it. We still have a couple more days to see what's best for the team, who's comfortable, who will leave in passing situations or take out. So we're still waiting to mold that based on not just first and second down, but also third down.
Do you anticipate a larger role for Sanborn, whether it's the Will or the Sam or one of those spots?
I think so, meaning that whatever spot he's in, especially this ball game, because Miami plays a lot of base. So with that in mind, will be some base, more nickel, but more base than we typically have in the past, similar to the 49ers that played probably at the time the most base, I think, in the NFL. So long story short, yes, he'll have a bigger role.
What is Sanborn's ceiling in the NFL based on what you've seen so far? How prepared is he for this, and how high can he go?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd put a ceiling on him. That's one of the things that we try not to do is put ceiling on our guys, and we would let Sanborn determine that and how hard he works, how hard he studies, how he performs. So you got to ask Sanborn about that respectfully. I'm not going to put a ceiling on him whatsoever.
What do you like about him? What's he done to earn these what's he done to earn the snaps that he got like last week and this potentially this new role?
The way he practices, all our things are how we judge guys, how we evaluate guys first, or how they perform in practice. He plays hard. He plays physical. He's, in terms of the hits principle, he does hustle. He is intense. So those are the first 2 steps. Back when he got a chance to play in the preseason, he did turn the football over. So I would say what's there not to like about Sanborn? He just needs a chance to get on the field and perform.
It's a little dangerous to play a whole lot of base when they've got Tyreek and Jalen Waddle out there.
Well, no matter how you look at it, it's dangerous. They are a dangerous team. But one of the things that we do have to do is still stop the run. I know you'd say, well, Coach, you're out of your mind. Stop the run. And when they have 2 dangerous guys, you can't let them do both. If you let people do both in the NFL, run the ball and throw the ball, it's a long day. So you need to make sure that you match up, and when there comes a time for nickel, we'll put nickel out on the field and use nickel.
A lot of your players talked the last couple of days about feeling just kind of bummed by everything that's happened in the last 10 days. And I'm just curious for you personally, how do you get through all that? Just, you got to worry about your players, you got to worry about preparing, but just yourself losing 2 of your defensive captains in the span of a week.
Yeah, life. I would say 10 or 15 years ago, I'd be bummed and it would linger on for a long time. Now I'm still bummed, but I recover a lot quicker mentally. So I know that in the NFL these things do happen. That's the bad part of it. But now it's time to, as you get, I'd say, older, a little bit more experienced, you don't let those things linger because people are counting on me. My guys are counting on me to go, hey, what type of attitude is Coach bringing into the room? Is he in the tank, or does he have a healthy perspective of what's gone on? And I try to bring a healthy perspective to losing guys and still acknowledge it and then move on in a positive direction.
What have you noticed leadership-wise so far? Roquan was so vocal, and guys maybe tentative stepping into that part of it?
No, I don't think so. Here's what I think the difference is. I think the difference is that now guys just may have a C on their chest, but they're not going to try to fill a void of someone else. I told them, make sure that you're you be you, and then other people will step in as needed. But no difference. The guys, they were leaders. People did follow them. They just didn't have a C on their chest. So that part doesn't change.
Is it to try to get hands on Tyreek at the line of scrimmage before he releases?
I do think you need to make sure that he's not running scot-through, just unabated through your defense. I do think there's a place for when you can putting your hands on both. Everybody says Tyreek, but they have another guy on, both of those guys, and Gesicki, 88, all of them to make sure they're just not running. You have to get your hands on them. You have to make sure that they're not just running through. When you let them do that, again, they are dangerous.
So is there a part of you that, because of that, you want to get to Tua as fast as possible and maybe send the house, as it were, a few times?
Well, you hit it on the head. The best coverage is a great rush. So we have to make sure that the quarterback is not back there just patting the ball and has all day to throw the ball. When that happens, it's you can't let it be 7-on-7. That's what you don't want. You have to make him feel uncomfortable. You have to make him move around. You have to make him not know what the coverage is before the snap. So there are different phases of that to make the quarterback feel uncomfortable.
Do you feel like Sunday's defensive performance was at all in part emotional letdown from the Quinn trade and kind of along the lines of what you were talking about before? How do you prevent that?
Yeah, no. People have asked me that before, and I would say you have to give some credit to Dallas. They are a good team, a really good team, so they get their fair share of credit. The other part is still we're growing. Sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's the recidivism that we talked about before, some bad habits, and then it's still, hey, stacking good practices on good practices on good practices, so you will perform. So I wouldn't say it's just one thing. I think it's a little bit of it's a mixed bag of things.
Mike McDaniel has moved his guys, all of his playmakers, all over the field. How does that make things difficult, or what's the challenge for your players on the field in the moment, pre-snap, post-snap?
Knowing where Waldo is, search for Waldo before the snap, pre-snap. You got to identify, hey, where's 17, where's 10 at all times. Situationally, third down, knowing where they are in the red zone, knowing where they are. First and second down, they motion them, they shift. You have to be aware of that along with what your assignment is and where they could end up. So just being aware this ball game, you definitely have to multitask, and you can't play looking at the formations through a tube. You have to have a balcony view of how you look at the formations and where guys are coming from.
Alan said that you wanted talked about the new captains, you don't want them to be like Roquan or be like Robert, you want them to be themselves. In terms of replacing the production on the field, what is your message to the defense, knowing that 2 of your better players are no longer here?
Yeah, don't try to do too much. When you try to do too much, you lose a gap. You're somewhere where you shouldn't be. The focus of our thing is execution. Be where you're supposed to be. Alignment, assignment, key and technique, And, there are several plays that we've made, big plays, where guys were just where they were supposed to be and the opportunity presented itself, and guys were in the spot to make the play. If we do that at a high rate, we'll be just fine.
When Matt Eberflus installed this defense in Indy in 18, the second half, there was a big improvement, at least statistically, the second half of the season. How can you make a similar improvement without Roquan Smith, without Robert Quinn?
Yeah, focus on the things that we've done well and keep doing that, and there are reasons why we did those things well. And then going back and look at ourselves, self-scout and see where we're not performing well, see the what, the whys, put a plan in action for that, and then making that plan come alive by practicing those things, emphasizing those things on the field, individual, on tape, and just really executing the plan. And then when you do that, you'll see little by little, you'll improve those deficiencies in your defense.
So can you be better without them than with them?
I think so, yes. We will, no, not can, we will. We will.
Good afternoon, how's everyone? Good.
Dolphins have been particularly poor in coverage. Is this the week where you can, hit some explosive plays in the return game?
Well, I think everybody's good in this league. Some teams are better than others. I don't ever take any opponent lightly. We never do. We got a lot of respect for the Dolphins. Coach Crossman's been doing it for a long time. So it's just like any other week for us. We're always hoping to make a play in the return game, and hopefully we get to our landmarks, make our blocks, get good pad level, keep good pad level, and hopefully we can make a play to help the spring offense, if not making a play for ourselves. So.
Richard, you guys had a flurry of kickoffs, 2 returned last week, but only took 1 out. Where were you in terms of your evaluation of the decision-making on when to let it go, when to make a return with Halas?
Yeah, I think Halas made excellent decisions last week. There are some times where you can bring those balls out and that you're in a favorable position. That was not a favorable position for us to bring the ball out, and we kind of knew that going into the game. They had like 34 kickoffs, and they had like 33 touchbacks. They only had like 1 ball returned all year. So it stayed true, and the one we could bring, we brought, and that was that in the game. But I thought he made great decisions.
Well, why not take a chance when you're down 20, though? I mean, that could spark the whole team.
Yeah.
So why not take it out?
Yeah. Well, it depends on where it is. A lot of those kicks were 8 deep. So the reason to bring it out is obviously you could spark a big play like you just said. But the reason not to bring it out, if it's over 4-2 hang, generally those balls get tackled inside the 15-yard line. So we don't want to put our offense in a bad situation there. Now, if it had been a ball with a good hang time, heck yeah, we would have brought it out.
Coach Williams just said that he anticipates a larger role for Jack Sanborn on defense this week. He's actually been a piece for you. How does that impact him on teams, and do you have your solutions picked out if he isn't as available to you?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, Herb. I think it's just like any other week when we think about Jack. So, yeah, we anticipate him obviously having a larger role there. But I look at that just like if Jack, for some reason, wasn't available in the game, if he had an equipment issue or an injury or something, we always have a backup plan for it. So, yeah, he'll be used when we need him, and when he's not available, we'll have someone in there ready to rock.
What do you like about the 62-yard punt and what that did for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was awesome. Sometimes you get those rolls. It's a really good job by Trent, basically changing up what he was doing to get Turpin not to feel that ball. Our number one goal in going into that game was to eliminate their best player, who we felt like was Turpin, from a return game. They had a lot of good players, but I thought that was an excellent job by Trent, the ball rolling down. And, you could get greedy at times and say, hey, we should let it roll a little bit more. Blackwell was running 21 miles an hour on that play, and by the time he got there, he'd rather be safe than sorry. So I liked how that fell for us, and I liked that the guys did what we asked them to do. I never worked with Coach Belichick, but that's something I took from Coach Belichick, just studying him, because I think he's one of the greatest, is take their best weapon away and make them beat you another way. And I don't think that Turpin had an effect on the ball game, so that was the plan.
What can you tell us about Trent? Just who he is and what you've learned about him as a player since you got him in April.
Yeah, I think Trent Gill is a person, first of all, my daughter's 8 years old, so obviously she's not ready to get married, but if she, when it's time for her to get married, you heard this saying before, that's the type of kid I want my daughter to marry. There it is, as a person, not a punter, a person that's kind, a person that knows how to treat women, a person that knows how to be a leader, a person that works his tail off, would be successful if he was a football player or if he was a coach or a reporter. Whatever he did, he's going to give 100% at it, and he is going to go the extra mile. He's proactive. You give him one task, he'll come back with 3 questions. That's the type of guy he is. He's a technician. I think being around Cairo has really helped him, like Cairo's leadership. But this kid was already a leader. It's rare for a rookie to behave the way he behaves. And he's still a rookie, but sometimes we forget he is. He's always upstairs studying film. He really takes his job super serious, and he always has a smile on his face. And Cairo said it before. You could ask Cairo about that. That gives Cairo a tremendous amount of confidence every time he goes out there to kick the ball, is the way Trent carries himself and how hard he works at holding and how he's always in a great upbeat mood. That kid's a joy to be around. He really is. I couldn't say enough great things about Trent.